Okay, we on?
We on.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. I'm Michael McCutcheon. Welcome to another episode of Humanity Matters. And I'm sitting here with my co-hosts, the lovely Annette Mendel, and
Thank
our
you.
host, Albert Torcaso.
Well, thanks,
Hello,
Mike.
Albert.
Well, hello to you too, Mike. That was a good one.
Thank you.
I like that.
Thank
I
you.
guess we're on.
Okay.
It happens, America. Believe that. Pittsburgh in America. First of all, let me just say I'm going to have a little bit of a disclaimer. But before I go into all that, of course, it's the 3rd of May. I hope I got that right. Yeah, 3rd of May. I can't see that far in the monitor that y'all back home can see. It's May 3rd, 2016. Right now, our Pittsburgh Penguins have the opportunity, if they can continue, and they come up with, I think, 2 more games, they can move to the 3rd round of the playoffs, and hopefully, with luck, they may eventually bring home the Stanley Cup, not whatever the heck I just said, Stanley Cup to Pittsburgh, PA. Now, let me say something that's already happened. The Penguins have won championships before, and we know that in all of history of the NFL, the Pittsburgh Steelers, first time, only team, 6 Super Bowl championships. And then, of course, the Pirates, Pittsburgh Pirates, have won some series. Now, you're probably thinking, what does all this have to do with what we're going to talk about today? Nothing, and yet everything. And I know that sounds like a paradox, but it's not. You see, every one of those teams were champions. Every one of those teams one day will be champions again. But yet, the question must be raised. When will our fellow Pittsburghers become champions themselves? When will our fellow Pennsylvanians, our fellow Ohioans, our fellow Californians, our fellow Americans, and indeed our fellow human beings, each of us, in our own right, become champions? But champions of many things. And the answer is we will all start having great victories when we believe, when we work to achieve, and when we are willing to do something unheard of. When we are willing to say, I will walk into that valley of the shadow of death, like some faiths teach. We got to walk where it's frightening. We have to smack evil right upside the head sometimes. And if we will do that, we can be like Les Brown. We can be just like Les Brown. He started out, and he was called retarded. He had sometimes 3 cents to his name. But he learned important things. And I strongly suggest everybody that hears my voice, whether they're on the panel or out there, you need to study Les Brown. You need to study people like Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, and a whole lot of other people. But it's not them, not in the larger sense, not me. It's what they overcame that's important. And what did Les end up doing? Well, he ended up going from $0 to more than $55 million today, and probably more than that. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's all about the money. Well, in a sense it is, and in a sense it's not. The reality is money is a tool. But when we don't have that money, when we don't have that tool, people die, people suffer. And because of the lack of that tool, we're treated like garbage. Or actually, garbage many times gets better treatment than a human being. And let me tell you something. I make no bones about it. This young man to the left of me, you're right. We're going to talk to him in about a minute. But I'm going to tell you, I don't care if I have an entertainer that's on this episode, not on this episode, but on this show, singing. I don't care if I have somebody talking about the newest flavor of popcorn. In the back of my mind and somewhere in that episode, I'm going to remind each and every one of you, even if it's not relevant to the episode, I really don't care. I'm going to remind you that I am at war. I have a war on that P word. and I'm going to get there myself. I'm going to get that income. But see, here's the problem with that. Les Brown's got it. A lot of people got it. But you don't have it. What am I really all about? What is this young man to my left about? We're about finding a mechanism or telling you how to do it for free, like maybe going to YouTube and looking up people that could teach you how to do something that is going to be so frightening, you might wet yourself. But if you do it, you will have an accomplishment that will feel like you won the Super Bowl. You will have an accomplishment that will feel like whatever thing you admire. Maybe it's sports. Maybe you admire scientists because of the magical things that it seems magical that they can do. Maybe you aspire to be a doctor and, save lives or come up with medical breakthroughs. I don't know. I'm not you. But whatever it is, I'm telling you that you can do it. Now, tonight we're going to relate to home-based businesses in a very abstract and general way. But let me warn you about something. I'm going to give you breaking news that the news stations cannot afford to tell you. You can't get this on NBC, ABC, Fox. You can't get this on local affiliates, KDKA, WTAE, or WPXI. You cannot get this at any price because they cannot afford it. But I'm going to warn you. There's a book that we brought with us, but Annette forgot to grab. Unfortunately, and during the tape roll, I might just walk out and grab it. It's called Smart People Start Late and Finish Rich.
It's in the car.
That's okay. Then we won't be able to get it. It's called Start Late and Finish Rich. In that book, it clearly states the majority, a large amount of future millionaires, current and future, will make their millions of dollars through home-based business and network marketing. That's not my words. That is the words of David Bach. Now, who backs him up? How about a gentleman named, I believe, Robert or Richard Kiyosaki? I think it's Robert Kiyosaki. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. We're talking about millionaires who like this book and who agreed. And with all this long-winded introduction, you're probably thinking, well, what in the heck? Why don't you let the guy talk? I'm going to. But I want you to understand what is at stake here. If you really are tired of things just not being right, like maybe you have a utility that threatens to shut you off, and the only reason they do that is you don't have that income coming in. Or maybe you've been abused, or maybe you have a boss with threatening that you gotta, do some stuff and sexual harassment or whatever, and you need that job. So you're a prisoner. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get to Tim in a New York second, a couple of seconds. You are enslaved. I am enslaved until we have that tool called money. And I don't know about you, but I know for me, just like Les Brown said, it ain't over until I win. So with that, if you want to learn how, in an abstract, general way, to possibly change your life now and forever with hard work, it ain't going to be a get-rich-quick scheme. You're going to have to work, sometimes harder than you ever have in your life, and sometimes easier than you ever have. It depends on the circumstance. But if you want to win like the Steelers, win like the Dallas Cowboys, win like the Chicago Bulls or whatever teams just recently won, or the Final Four in the March Madness or whatever, you want to win? I suggest you start listening to what I have to say. And if I sound a little bit uppity, that's because your life matters to me. And even though you may not act like you give a dang, I'm pretty sure you do. For yourself, at least. But before we go, because I don't want Tim to get connected to my ranting, the fact of the matter is, Tim is going to speak to you in an abstract way. But I'm going to say something to you. If you don't start going on YouTube or going to the library if you don't have internet access, or you may be computer illiterate, or you may be an older American. I don't care about your age, your lack of this, your lack of that, because let me tell you something. You can find a way. You can find a way. And a matter of fact, if you need help, I will do my best to give you advice and physically help you if I can. If I can. So my number is on that screen every darn show, 412-559-2731. I will really actually talk to you. But if you block your calls or you do private, you're going to go to voicemail. But if you leave the information, I will call you. I'm a man and a person of my word, America. And I'm telling you one last thing. If you don't, and this sounds like a threat, but it's a reality. If you don't come up with a way to make you earn your own money in a home-based business or some type of brick and mortar or whatever you come up with, if you do not, within 5 to 10 years, 90% of the jobs on this planet today are going to be controlled by automated systems, software, and robots and machines. So the jobs, I don't care if it's in America, I don't care if it's in Taiwan, I don't care if it's in Russia, I don't care if it's in Mexico, wherever it is. Humans are going to have millions and then billions of less jobs. So if you don't start getting with the program, well, you're going to be in worse condition than you are. And I hate to actually go directly to Tim. It's not fair to him. But I call it as I see him. So what I'll do is, we're going to introduce Tim. But since I light up a fire sometimes, I think what we'll do is we'll have Annette actually introduce Tim. Remember, do not connect what I say to anybody else up here. And I'll tell you why. I'm so fired up about this people not having what they need. If I really wanted to, I could definitely be 100,000 times more fired up than I am now. I'm keeping it calm. But with that, I do want to thank Tim because the information that he's about to divulge is going to open up a whole tank of what, but for those who want to keep us down. We will not be kept down. We will not turn back, and we will not accept mediocrity anymore. And with that, let's go to the one, the only, Annette Mendel.
Hi, everybody. I want to introduce our special guest this evening, Tim Miller.
Hello.
Sorry, Tim, I didn't mean to put you in the fire like that.
All right. Does anybody have any questions, or should I just tell the story?
I think, do you have any questions? Anybody have any questions?
Yeah,
I have one question.
Okay, wait, go ahead, Annette. And then Mike goes for round number 2.
This business that you're in, Tim,
Not the business that he's in, but the industry, but go ahead.
the industry, what, this system that you've come upon, that you're building and everything?
Yes.
Well, this might be a stupid question, but
Uh-oh. Go ahead.
you're doing it because you want to be financially successful and you want to get out of the grind of 9-to-5 job. Is that right?
Well, actually, at one point, that was my motivation. That is no longer the motivation, because what happened is that I was in a conversation with some colleagues, and one of them was saying, he was kind of complaining about the fact that you can't just walk into a business establishment anymore.
Right.
Pick up a paper application, take it with you, bring it back, and drop it off.
Right.
Everybody says, well, just go to our website, you know. And he was having difficulties with the, you know, downloading the application, then completing it, and then having to scan it and upload it and attach this and attach that. And then he mentioned the fact that his father was kind of getting on him a little bit about being slow with the process.
Right.
And it came up, the question was asked. I know this question was on my mind. It was at the forefront of my mind as he was talking about this. But I can't remember if I'm the one that actually verbalized the question.
All right.
Because the answer to the question blew me away. So it was asked him, are you looking for other employment? Are you looking for a part-time job? You know, what's going on? And he says, no. He says, I'm looking for a job for my dad. And he's 77 years old. And it's not easy. And the impact that it had on me, I really can't explain. It was like a gut punch. I literally had to turn away from the conversation and do one of these because tears were filling my eyes. And hearing that just broke my heart. And really considering where people are these days, you know, the average family is like two missed paychecks away from a real financial disaster. A lot of people have way too much on credit cards.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, they really have a hard time trying to figure out what to do and how to do it. And the industry that I'm involved in has been around for a while.
Oh, yeah.
But there have been, let me just say, there have been misguided attempts in the past at making this work for people.
Exactly.
And in some instances, if you talk about, for instance, a network marketing business, people were coached to like chase down their friends and family and try to talk them into purchasing a specific product or whatever.
Exactly.
And then the distributors themselves were required to keep a certain amount of personal volume to keep their business afloat. And the network marketing industry kind of got a black eye over a lot of that. Oh, yeah. And some of it was deserved, some of it wasn't deserved. But, you know, my vision was, when this whole story just kind of like twisted my whole brain around. And it was a few days later when I was thinking about this incident that I got what I like to call a brain rush. And that's when a thought shoots into your head and it's not necessarily yours.
Okay, well, yeah, I've been there, done that.
It's like,
we won't go
get
there.
some inspiration and you think, where did that come from?
A higher power, we won't go there.
Because I'm not really that smart. But I got this rush that
That's not true.
there are a lot of people, you know, the law of attraction is very popular these days. And this thought came to me in these words. There are a lot of people who are trying to use the law of attraction to get what they want.
That's right.
And many of them aren't having much success.
Got that right.
But if you are seeking to improve your situation in order to empower yourself to help others, and that motivation is sincere, the universe, the spirit, whatever you want to call it, will trip over itself.
That's right.
To get you what you need.
That's true.
And I have seen a definite shift in things that have come to me. But there's a backstory to this because it was about a year ago where I came upon a video by, I believe it was on YouTube, by a girl from, I believe, Ireland, Scotland, I'm not sure, Megan Macedo. And she was talking about be yourself in your business.
Right.
You know, and how to have your business reflect and attract the kind of people that you want to do business with.
Exactly.
Rather than trying to copy paste what everyone else is doing, put your own heart into it, your own personality, your own approach. And that really put me on a path where I was really, you know, really seeking what should I be doing, you know. And I had considered a lot of avenues because I began to looking into what is my calling, you know, what am I really supposed to be here doing, you know. And this is about a year ago. And so I can see a definite, looking back, there's been a definite progression from that point to this.
Okay.
I didn't know the path I was on. But I believe that conversation that I was involved in was meant to happen.
Oh, of course.
Because it gave me a totally new perspective on what I was doing. And it put, and at the same time, it answered all the questions that I had been asking previously.
Right.
So what I personally am in the process of doing is putting together a platform that will work for the average person, because this isn't a platform where you just quote unquote, here's your stuff, good luck.
You're basically not leaving them.
No,
by
we
themselves.
don't leave people alone and assume that they're going to know right off the bat what to do. We give them tools, we give them a copy and paste format, and we actually invest in them by helping them build their business. So that's the difference that we have.
So you're-
and our
what you're
motivation
saying
isn't the product.
Right.
The motivation is the first thing is the mission. Whatever we do to accomplish the mission is secondary to accomplishing the mission. You know, if you, let's give this the Army or military, you know, framework. If your goal is to capture that hill, that's your mission.
Right.
The tools you use to do it, you want to find the best tools, of course, but they're really secondary to the mission.
Exactly.
And the mission kind of can dictate what tools you use, but
Exactly.
the mission is the priority. And that's the perspective that we come from. Our priority is to help people. And one of our main, I want to say, thoughts that encapsulate this was a quote by Zig Ziglar.
Okay.
And Zig Ziglar said that you can have everything in life that you want if you just help enough other people get what they want.
That's true.
So the spirit of this is not, it's in the helping people to achieve
Well,
the
another
financial
way of putting it is what
stability that they
Napoleon
need.
Hill and Andrew Carnegie spoke about, how he got wealthy. One of the ways was he rendered useful service to the greatest number of people. So that's similar to what Zig said. That's pretty much it.
But it sounds more like to me that he's more into people with an existing business, and you're trying to motivate them to get like a bigger clientele or something like that. Or
Well, even someone starting from scratch, this platform can be used by the beginner or the person that's already got an established business and they need a vehicle to make it grow. So that's the beauty of this platform.
Okay. Now, in order for the newer person to get into the business, wouldn't you need a product, an idea for all this to come into being? You know, like the product, the idea.
Well, that's the beauty of this, because the tools that you're using are part of the business.
Okay.
So you have all the foundational tools you need, but you're also rewarded for sharing those tools with others.
In other words,
so
it's not
even
like
your
a business
basic
in a box.
business platform pays you for just sharing the platform itself. And what we've done is, I've been.
Excuse me for a minute.
Yeah.
We got to be careful that considered advertisement. So I'd like you to kind of rephrase that and maybe say that what you've done in the organization you're with, actually, you can finish that thought, but we want to keep it more general.
Well, this would be like if you opened a bakery, and every bakery
Okay.
needs an oven.
Well, yeah, that's
Well, imagine
true.
if the oven paid you.
Exactly.
Okay, that's the
Okay,
analogy I would like
the
to
way you
use.
said it that way.
Yeah, because these platforms are basically essential to conducting business, but yet they also have a reward side for
Right.
using them. So it kind of makes it the perfect world. And then in the process, you can add whatever else you have to it. These are tools that you can use to promote whatever you're doing. And what we've done is we've made a bridge between the online world or the internet world and the mobile-to-mobile world.
Wow.
And we've taken these two
That's pretty
programs
exciting.
and put them under one roof so that people don't realize it, but from a traffic standpoint, just pure traffic, the mobile-to-mobile world carries 5 times more traffic than the internet.
Okay.
And we've got platforms that you can use that facilitate both. The majority of even website traffic is now coming from mobile-to-mobile devices.
Well, I appreciate that. Unfortunately, I think we're kind of got to be careful with that the way we're speaking about that. I know it sounds kind of odd, but
well, we're
it
just
is what it
discussing
is.
the mechanics.
I understand
of
we're
how
discussing
this
the
works.
mechanics, but when we speak about a specific type of platform, that may be kind of borderline. And I may be wrong on that. I'm not sure. I just want to make sure that, well, we got to be careful, but And you're right, it's the mechanics. But I guess another way of putting it, because we have another call that Tim's going to actually get in a couple of seconds. You're going to
who
do
that
co-hosting
is.
job for a second. But I guess this is the best way to put it. What you were saying, you have to have a product. Well, actually, you do have the product. The tools itself is what he's saying is, in this particular case, we're not endorsing, recommending, or selling. In this particular case, if a person were involved with that particular platform, the tools itself would actually pay you. Or since we all have reward cards, most of us, or we have like shopping, points at certain stores we won't mention, think of it as you almost are getting reward points, only you're getting real cash for the actual using of the tools. So you don't need, quote unquote, a product. So in other words, absolute beginners, like he said, in this particular case, which we're not endorsing or anything, that would work. Because essentially it would be kind of like, let's say, for example, the tool happened to be, I don't know, I'm trying to think. Instead of a tool, let's just say that you were on, well, we're with Comcast. Let's just say every time somebody subscribed to Comcast that you referred, let's just say instead of giving you some kind of a points, they would give you $10. I'm not saying that's, it doesn't coexist. I mean, it's not, that's the word I'm looking for. I'm just giving an example, a hypothesis. So it would be like it's every time somebody joined Comcast that you referred, they gave you $10.
Okay.
Instead of a toll. That's one way of putting it. In this case, these platforms that he speaks of, if you share the information and somebody decides to get it because they have existing businesses, they need people to get there, well, you would get, quote unquote, something out of it. I'm just going to leave something out of it for legal reasons. You would get something out of it.
Okay, because that's...
So you don't need, per se, to go, hold on, let me just answer it in this way. You don't need to have something established, or even in theory, any kind of business at all. In fact, the one thing that Tim will confirm after he answers the call, I hope anyway, you can use what they call, I think it's called a rotator. And you can put links and URLs, which are what we call links, to websites. Let's say if it would be timmiller.info or whatever, or we might put pctv21.org, which is a real website. If that was in the rotator, what it would help is to get more people to see it. And a lot of these tools are geared to, and I could be wrong, and Tim will correct me if I'm wrong, because I got a comb over, I could be wrong. But at any rate, it's geared to getting more people to see it. It's geared to no longer struggle trying to get the people. And it's also geared to, quite frankly, not look like a jerk trying to, be like, oh, please get my batteries or whatever the product is. Buy this coffee. I need you now. Get this flowers or whatever. So what it is it's tools that help you get more eyes on the site or on the prize or whatever you want to call it.
Okay, because it sounds like when you were riding us down here, Al, you were saying like it's more of a motivational thing.
No, it's a
sounds
little
like
bit of
to
everything.
It sounds like to me he's talking about businesses that are already established.
But it's also non-established.
So where does the beginner start? What do you tell the beginning
Well,
business
I'll tell you
person?
what. Why don't we do this?
First of all, you have to get the money to get the business started, the product. It sounds like he's more into the existing
Well, I'll tell you
business.
what. Why don't we do this? Let him answer the call.
Okay.
And then when we're done, we're actually going to have to delay that answer for a while because we're going to go into a tape roll after the call.
Okay.
And then after the tape roll, Annette will be speaking about the tape roll.
Okay.
So probably in about 10 minutes or so, we'll get back to that. And Tim, hold that thought. Don't go anywhere with it. Hold on to it, the invisible thought. And with that, Tim, you see that monitor, right? Why don't you answer the call, please? Your turn. Go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me now? This is Diane.
No, you're not supposed to talk to
I
the
knew
caller.
I knew it.
Yeah,
Oh,
Tim, are you talking about businesses, about like food truck business,
Oh, my goodness,
Avon
is that-
businesses, or
No.
maybe restaurant businesses?
No, this is.
I mean, I don't know what
Wait,
the
you have
show's
to wait.
about,
She
but I
doesn't-
think
she doesn't stop
you
for
got
that.
a different set now, huh?
No, these are products that are basically electronic
Right.
and digital
I
products.
don't
Right.
know electronics. What's electronics? You mean like a car?
No.
Digital,
No.
on the computer.
This would be like like websites and web services and that type of thing, and electronic
You
mobile
mean like
phone
something like Bill
applications.
Gates
I guess that there's some parallel there in a
A
way.
little bit.
Someday,
Time, huh?
someday,
But these are
Diane.
products like, just for example, these are like you can go to say GoDaddy and get a website.
Right.
You can go to other places like Aweber and get an autoresponder.
Exactly.
Well,
Excuse me.
these are very
Sorry
affordable
about that.
platforms
Well,
that are.
you should go on GoDaddy. You might find something too.
But anyway, these are platforms that facilitate communication on the internet
Exactly.
and also communication in the mobile-to-mobile world as well. Smartphone technology and that kind of thing.
Well,
So-
I don't have a smartphone.
Well, actually, you don't even need it even to participate.
No, you
in
don't
this.
need it.
I
You don't
have
need.
a toy phone. Mine's
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah. But anyway,
sharing that on live TV.
but that's why we put
I
these.
will tell you one thing. The Penguins play tomorrow.
Diane, we're going to end this call.
That's nice,
But I
Diane.
don't know nothing about websites. Doug,
Okay,
but I
Diane, we're
do
gonna move
like-
on.
I
Doug?
never heard-
I'm sorry, Diane. Diane, let me just say this. I want my callers to call in. Don't get me wrong. Callers, 412-231-2288. But let's stick to the topic. Diane, I'm not trying to be mean by shutting you off. And believe me, ladies and gentlemen, I want your calls. But we have to stick to the topic. I know it doesn't seem like I do. When I spoke about the Penguins, I was speaking as it relates to you. Because if they can be champions, why can't you? And Tim, like he said, these are electronics, digitized products also, autoresponders, and I'll let him finish that thought. But with regards to why I had to have Diane off the air, and I want her back on at some point, but she's got to learn we have a format. We have to, for everybody that calls in the future, please stick with what we're talking about, because when we take away from the episode, we're stealing time from you. And what Tim's actually saying, we have to be careful because of the rules of peace, public access. But what I would like to say, since we have to be careful, is the best way to understand and comprehend what Tim and I are saying, and he'll answer, hopefully we'll be able to answer Mike, but what we're saying is, right now as we speak, in theory, somebody can start a business, really of any kind, but specifically let's take it to home-based or network marketing or multi-level marketing or direct marketing. And they can start a business. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be anything. In theory, they could start a business today, and if they knew what they were doing and they had enough eyes on the sites or wherever they're marketing, they could make money instantaneously. This is not advertisement. This is not boasting. This is not pie in the sky. This is a reality. And before I bring it to Tim, Tim will eventually answer Mike, but we're going to go to Annette, which is confusing, but try not to get dizzy. But before I do that, what you need to understand is the majority, well, let me say a large majority of people who are becoming millionaires and future multimillionaires. And this is coming right from Start Late, Finish Rich by David Bach. A large number, probably the most, highest number, is going to come from home-based businesses, network marketing, internet, and multi-level marketing, whatever what terminology you want to use, but from the home. It is not going to come from your brick and mortar for the most part. It is not going to come from the majority of what it has in the past. And if we have the vision, before we go into that, and believe me, I'm not going to take forever because we're at 6:36. I don't have a clock, that's why I had to look. If you have common sense and you also have the vision to see the future, and I don't mean like somebody that's a futurist or a psychic, but you can see what's going on. You walk into your big box stores and you see at least a few automated cash registers, no humans. And every time you call for customer service, almost every time, or even your doctors, you have first an automated machine. So I'm telling you, I'm actually warning you, as I said earlier, if you do not start comprehending and actually go out there and learn, even if you have to get retrained, maybe you can even possibly get government help. I'm not saying you can't, but something tells me even if you can't now, you'll be able to soon. I promise you. But the point, and I say that because the majority of income will be coming from home-based businesses, and the big box stores must adapt. And this is going to be for the next 100-some years, or they will no longer survive. Now, you might say, well, Al, give me some evidence. Now, I didn't plan, I didn't research. It's in here. I got your evidence right here, no offense, but I got your evidence for you. Here's the evidence. Walmart, one of the largest employers on earth, closing stores. Just last week, Sears and Kmart closing stores. They can give you a lot of reasons. I'll tell you what it is. The internet, e-commerce of all kinds, and the internet, because this is the bottom line, ladies and gentlemen. As I said to Mike, and I said to Annette when we were driving here, if I can order something from my home, why am I going to drive and be in a traffic jam when I can employ hopefully a human to then go and bring the stuff to me? The internet is exploding with e-commerce. And I'm telling you, it will be the end of video stores and a lot of other industries within the next few years. Now, with the mom and pop stores, I want them to survive. But unless they adapt and they get an online presence, I don't care what industry you're in, if you don't have an online presence and you're not making money from the internet, you are going to lose your business. That is not a threat. That is reality. If we have Walmart and Sears, Kmart closing stores, America, that tells you something. And it's not, even if they say it's because of this, it's because of that. Look, I can tell you something that I'm going to use my sound off if I get to it. I can tell you something right now that the station that I'm at may not be here in 1 to 7 years. I can tell you that cable TV, satellite TV, may be extinct within a number of years. And it's all because of something called the internet. And I guarantee you, you can deny what I'm saying. You can put your head in the water or the sand. You can say the tin's full of 5 kinds of Fritos, to be polite, or I am. But I guarantee you, as God is my witness, and for atheists, it's whatever it is my witness, I promise you, my predictions are already true. We've got to get to that point. It is true, you will lose your business if you don't listen to people like myself and this man. So you do not listen, and you do not call in at your own peril. And trust me when I tell you, as far as cable and satellite is concerned, you guys and gals had better wake up. Because right now, you are this close to going out of business, whether you know it or not. With that, I'm going to wake the dead if I have to. Well, actually, I can't, but God can. But I'm going to warn each and every one of you. I would start listening to this show, and I would start calling these episodes. I don't care if I got Daffy Duck next to me dancing. You better call Albert Torcaso in this show, not because I'm an arrogant you-know-what, but I tell what the mainstream media can't tell. And you want to know why they can't tell you? Why don't 60 Minutes or people have this? Because they answer to somebody else who it would not behoove to tell you the truth because they would lose money. So let me just leave you with this. You can forget to call 412-412 231-2288. You can ignore it. I can lose my live episodes for a series at least coming in January. But Lord knows I'll still be here because I owe it to myself and I owe it to you. With that, Mr. Loudmouth's going to finally shut up for a minute. And Doug, let Tim answer Mike's question, and then we'll go into that video. And Annette, when the video comes back, you know what to do. So with that, Mike, ask your question one more time.
That was my question. It sounds more like he's giving existing businesses advice, and like what you're just saying, Al, if your business isn't based on the internet,
toast.
it's basically, you know,
it's gone.
So here's the thing: no matter what you do, where you start in business, you
Right.
got to have a start somewhere. Okay. Somebody's got to give you the money to get your product rolling. That's more or less what I was.
Well, this is something that anyone can start.
Exactly.
It is a business in and of itself because of the nature of what you have, you're dealing with. And it's also very, very affordable.
Oh, yeah.
You know? I went out and I looked for the very best platform that I could possibly find at the most affordable price, but yet yielded the best return in the long run. So this is designed for people that want something to start with, you know, that is a legitimate business. But also the spirit behind this is that
people.
it's people helping people.
Exactly.
So this isn't like just like a cash passing money scheme.
No.
We are dealing with real businesses,
Oh,
and
yes.
these tools certainly do apply to anybody that already has an
yeah.
existing business
Oh,
and
yes.
needs to help, you know, needs other ways to get the word out. But even just starting with this, just starting with the basic tools that we have, that actually gives you something to go out to the existing business owner with and say, take a look at this. You know, so even if you start out bare bones with this, you still have
A foundation.
a foundation. You've got products and services that you
Exactly,
can offer.
a foundation.
And it's kind of like, you know,
Well, I want to interject
self-contained
something
in
after
and
you're
of itself.
done.
So you can start from scratch with this without a business and adopt it as your business.
Let me add something, and then we're going to have Annette actually, Doug, right after I'm done with my big mouth there saying something, we're going to go to that tape rule, and we definitely want to do that, and then we'll quickly have Annette do her thing when we come back. Then we're going to go to your shout out, and then Annette's shout out, and then if I get a chance, I'll shout out, and then I want to go back to Tim. But one thing I want to say, we can't tell you what this is, Mike, except for off the air and in person. If anybody wants these types of information, you know, there are ways to find out. We just can't tell you. But one thing I want to say to the needs-based disabled Americans and Pittsburghers, that you are out there. You need to call 412-231-2288. But in any rate, like for example, there are people on disability. And one of the things is there's a certain one, I think it's SSI, that you're not allowed to have essentially a life. You cannot have more than $2,000 on hand. And that means you cannot have a lot of things. Okay, but let's also be honest. A lot of people that's on disability, some get $400 a month, some get $700, some get, I don't know, maybe $1,000, whatever. One thing I want to say, and we can't speak specifically about this business, but when we say affordable, I can tell you from personal experience, it's affordable even for people who are on extremely terrible broken budgets. It's not a fixed income, it's a broken income. But yeah, we're talking about reasonable. Now, what Tim said, and eloquently, I thought, but I'm going to do it my way. You can start, quote unquote, working these tools, learning how to do it, and then when other people get these tools, that actually can be your temporary, quote unquote, business, the tools itself. And then if you have something extra, it's just more icing on the cake, to use the cake metaphor. So yeah, to your answer to your question that Tim gave, I thought was a good answer, very good answer. But it is affordable, and it's not something like, a lot of times I hear, oh, it's affordable, and then you're like, yeah, right, affordable to who? But it is, because I know for me, the needs-based disabled American, I care about. The older adults, senior citizen, we won't even go there. I do what I do. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, whether the series is live on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the first Tuesday of the month, or it's whenever. It's going to be here, as long as I'm breathing if I can. But I will tell you one thing, and I'm going to be honest with every one of you, and with Tim, and with you. I don't know if out of the 7 billion plus people, who's going to have the common sense and the vision to do these things that he speaks about and others speak about, and do the things that Les Brown has done. I don't know if you're going to be willing to do what must be done to live a way that you can, that others cannot. I don't know, but I know I am.
But it obviously has to be an internet-based business.
It doesn't necessarily have to be an internet-based business in the larger sense, because one of the tools is a way to promote websites. So you could have, let's just say hypothetically, there's a really cool, I'm not endorsing or saying go there, but there's a real cool oyster house in the city of Pittsburgh. It's called the Original Oyster House. If you had originaloysterhouse.com, I don't even know if that's a real website, I don't know. But if you did, you could promote that. You can have your quote unquote, whatever business. In theory, if you had a lemonade stand and you're on the freaking corner, you could have drinkmylemonade.com or something like that. So no, you don't have to be internet-based. You don't have to be. So that's actually not, in my opinion, that's not actually accurate, but I could be wrong. Am I right or wrong on that?
Oh yeah,
You do
Walmart.
not have
Walmart
to.
has a website.
Yeah, you don't
And they're a
have to
brick
be
and mortar
internet.
store. You know, so
Yeah, exactly.
and
But
more
these
and more-
tools also help promote that.
Oh
too.
yeah, and more, your brick and mortar stores, if they don't have an
They
online
have to.
presence,
They have to.
they're going to be, they hurt.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to be gone.
You know, so when people
yeah.
are people don't use the yellow pages much anymore.
I just noticed that.
Everybody does
I
their
know.
searching online. So if you don't have
Yep.
a presence online,
You forget about it.
generally people
Like I was saying.
aren't going to find you, or you're missing out on a lot of business.
Yeah, billions of
because that's
dollars.
where people are searching.
Right.
So you have to have some type of a presence where people are looking to find you.
Well,
you know.
I hate to cut you off. We'll do more on it, and I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. I know we need to do this, but there's something that we do want to show you. And it's only about 3.5 minutes, and then we'll try to get back to Tim. But right after that, you don't need to do that unless, let Mike, time out. We have to let people know what's going on real quick. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to show the tape roll, ladies and gentlemen. And then we're going to bring the camera up on Mike. He's going to do his, hopefully, 2 to 5 minute tape roll. We should be out about 7 minutes after that. And then if Annette chooses, she can do her 2 to 5 minute sound off, or she can speak about the tape roll. That will be I will defer to Annette on that. But with this, Annette, can you please introduce the tape roll?
Yes, this is a tape roll that we filmed a couple weeks ago.
On the 20th of
On the
actually
20th
April.
of April last month, on the former President Bill Jefferson Clinton.
William Jefferson Clinton, but that's all right.
William Jefferson Clinton. Well, we hope.
Hillary believes we need to do. On the college front, first she thinks it's important to have really good apprenticeships and other training programs for people that don't need a four-year college degree to get a middle-class job. And that we have underfinanced that. We need to restore the dignity to get more, not just to pay for costs, but for living expenses and things like that. Then, for people who need more, she would create a huge number of new work-study positions. So any student who needed more help could get 10 hours a week of work-study income, and that would help to hold down the cost of college. She believes upper-income people in the top 1% or higher should pay higher taxes, but you should lose those taxes to help people create new jobs in modern manufacturing with elevated lead levels in their blood. You know that, don't you? Just think how many jobs we could create if we had an infrastructure program that took up all the rusted pipes in this country, and how many people would be employed laying the others down to give every child in America a healthy future. And think how much better you would do in the classroom. Third, much money and will help more people, and we can do it in a hurry. Every year a young person loses is really tragic, and we don't have to do it. Now, one other thing, and there's lots of other things I can mention, I want to talk about this. We're here at the North End and believes that if we're all going to grow together again, like we did in the 90s, you've got to give extra incentives and supports to all profoundly distressed areas. So she was the first person in this campaign in either party to call for a $10 million plan to attack the opiate, drugs, and the heroin.
Okay, go ahead, Mike.
Cool. Okay, we're back, and L told me that I could like speak a little bit about what's weighing me down a little bit today.
Go ahead.
Anyhow, people call Pittsburgh the most livable city. I can't believe that. You know, what's weighing on my heart is that good few weeks ago, say about 6 weeks ago, 2 men, I don't even know if you can consider them men, but 2 men opened fire on a bunch of women that were at a barbecue. I mean, there was 1 guy, 2 guys present, but dude, these were women. These were women. I don't know what they could have done to deserve such a...
You talking about
the Wilkinsburg massacre,
Okay.
and it doesn't make sense, man. Like
No,
the cops are around here arresting people for tickets and driving drunk, and meanwhile you have 2 cowards. I mean, I don't have any other word for them, but they're cowards to open fire on a bunch of women
And
and
a child.
one of them pregnant. God help us. That's all I can say. Thanks, Al.
Well, Mike, we will definitely find more time in June to speak about that. With that, Annette, I want you to make your decision. Either you do a sound off or you speak about that video. I would like you to, if you can, at least a second or two, because people are going to wonder why I had the president on there if you don't. And we only have about 5 minutes.
Okay, well, it goes like this. The event was held in Southside in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And we went down there to see the president. And we had our IDs. And we went in and we showed our IDs. But we were turned away because they said it was a private event.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was insulting because we're press as much as Fox and CBS and WTAE and all them, WPXI. So we went back out, and to say the least, Al was beside himself.
Oh, yeah.
And he decided to call somebody that people wouldn't expect. So what he did was he actually called the White House. That's right. The White House, where the president currently lives. And he told them what they did to us, and there wasn't much they could do. But somebody at the place overheard the conversation, apparently, or something had to have been up. Something had to have been up. Somebody overheard him calling the White House or something, because he came out and asked us, you know, what were we doing there? And we told them.
And they saw the results.
Yeah.
Right?
So he said, well, go ahead in. I'll take care of it. And he did. And the woman that turned us away.
We won't comment on that one. She had a mouth. Well, we will comment. She didn't know what to do.
She's like, are those the same 2 people I told that they can't come in here?
Now let me kind of finish up strong, if you don't mind. Are you okay with that?
Go ahead.
Actually, there's a reason why I put the president on and why we're bringing this up. You remember this whole episode, we've been talking about you winning. As a matter of fact, you probably can't see it. Actually, Mike had designed a peace sign. He wants to see love and joy. And I have, like Les Brown, he says, it ain't over until you win. It's not, the chalk kind of got messy. It says, we win. And then Annette came up with success. And so you're probably wondering, boy, that looks kind of wild.
We win.
Well, this is the thing about it, ladies and gentlemen, real quickly. Well, I'm long-winded, so medium quickly, at any rate. When I say that you need to listen to this man, get your behind on the internet. I don't care if you have to go to the library. Listen to me. Listen to Les Brown. Listen to Tim. And get out there and be your own Pittsburgh Steelers champion. Get that money in your pocket and win. Get that tool, because the same thing, he has invented tools. Money is a tool. But guess what? Without it, you die. Bottom line, you die. Because if you don't have money, you can't eat. If you can't eat, you die.
Speaking of dying,
But hold up. Let me throw down why we brought that Clinton, the wonderful president in.
Okay, go ahead.
Real quickly, because I only have like 30 seconds here. I'm going to finish it up. I'm going to finish up strong. The point that I'm making is, it's not every day somebody calls the White House. I did. It's not every day somehow people over here, you call the White House. I have my own theories of what happened. But I was the only member of Pittsburgh Public Access, as far as I know, and PCTV, to get my credentials and be within feet of one of the best presidents we ever had. You can argue all you want. That man left us with $1 trillion in the bank. The next guy, his name was, by the way, something about George Bush or something. He took that out and it cost us trillions of debt. Even our president, who's getting the bum rap, our president, his name is Barack Obama. Yeah, President Barack Obama, for those who don't like him.
Nice.
He may not have solved all the problems, but he sure as heck got us back on track. And I'm going to say something that's going to make a lot of people mad up in here.
Yeah, Hillary R. Clinton, our next
That
president
is our next president,
of
but
the
we won't
United
go there.
States of
That wasn't what I was
America.
going to say, but that wasn't what I was
It's
going
going
to
to
say.
get us even more back on track than that.
She did not just do that.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't just, did she just do that?
Yes, I did.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim. I'm not responsible for what that says. I'm just responsible for my comb over. Any rate, but what I was going to say is, if you look at history in the United States, and I'm sorry, you want to call it partisan? Well, Karl Rove said, when appropriate, I'll be partisan. But excuse me, I'll be American and patriotic. For the Republicans out there and the Democrats, for that matter, real quickly, I can do this in 2 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. I got 2 minutes. That's like 2 hours for me, baby. Any rate, if you look at the history of America, most of the time, the most prosperous economic times happen under Democratic presidents and Democratic Congresses. That is not partisan. That is a fact. You don't believe me? You don't have to believe me. Go to a library or go online and get on time, because it's the truth and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Now, in my opinion, if you're making less than $100,000, well, I don't want to say you're not thinking when you don't vote Democratic or quote unquote independent. I don't want to say you're not thinking. Then again, maybe I will say it. But, you know, I better keep it nice because we only have 30 seconds. So, Annette, can you say goodbye to the people?
Yes, but I have something to say.
You only got 30 seconds. Go
So,
ahead.
Before we go,
Go for it.
the reason why we have purple flowers
Oh, Prince.
here is to honor Prince. And that's
Okay.
my favorite color. And Prince kind of
Okay, but you only have like 5 seconds.
inspired that.
Nice for that. Very
All right, that's cool and that's classy. Ladies and gentlemen, you all know I ain't playing. But remember, I love you. So remember that you and humanity in all forms of life really
does
does
matter.
matter.